Okay, good morning, everybody. It is right at 11:30, so we will get going here with our weekly impact weather briefing for Central North Carolina, covering the upcoming 7 days. My name is Gail Hartfield, forecaster here at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. So looking back at the last few days, as you probably all know, it's been quite hot. We've had some couple of records here, and wanted to highlight our observed temperatures at the Raleigh-Durham International Airport for the last week. We've been well above normal. You see there at the bottom right there, the normal highs for this time of year are mid 70s to around 80, which is kind of hard to believe considering it's just been kind of hot for so long, and we continue to see temperatures peaking out in the mid 80s into the mid 90s. And you can see here we hit two record highs at RDU this past week, including Thursday and on Sunday. Sunday, we also saw a record set at Fayetteville at 96 degrees and at the Piedmont Triad Airport at 94 degrees, which blew out the previous record by 4 degrees. So we are continuing to be well above seasonal normals. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your point of view, if you really like summertime, then you'll love this. But we're going to have some warm and dry conditions will continue for the next, at least most of this work week. Temperatures are going to be slightly less hot today. I hesitate to say cooler, but it is a little cooler by about 10 degrees from what we saw yesterday, but still well above our normal highs for this time of year. As you can see the weather pattern there, today we're looking at a frontal zone kind of sitting over us and producing some of these clouds that we've seen this morning. This front will be kind of washing out and heading back north tomorrow and in particular later in the day, and we'll see that being replaced by deep high pressure over the mid-south Gulf states and the southeast, and that's going to be what's going to be responsible for our very hot temperatures. We're looking at extreme heat will return in full force Wednesday and Thursday. We're expecting highs both those days to be well into the 90s across central North Carolina, and heat index values are going to be peaking out in the upper 90s to low 100s. So definitely a summertime pattern that we're still in here. We are looking at another cold front, though, dropping south through the area Friday, probably later in the day, as we're looking at right now. But that should bring some welcome relief for next weekend. So we'll be looking forward to that. Rain chances remain very low over the next 7 days. We haven't had much over the last couple weeks, and we're still looking at pretty low chances coming up over the next 7 days here. Looking quickly at our severe thunderstorm potential, there really isn't much. We've got a shot at a stray storm or two, mainly across some southern sections from now through the remainder of today. And then tomorrow we should see any thunderstorms relegated to the mountainous areas of North Carolina, and then nothing much for the rest of the week. We're looking at very dry weather. And here's another highlight of how dry it's going to be the next 7 days. You see that bottom right panel there, kind of a carve out of central North Carolina, basically showing not much in the way of rain expected at all. You may get lucky and see a stray shower. We did have a couple here this morning, but generally most places are going to be remaining dry here for the next few days as high pressure remains in control. Looking at our drought monitor, we're starting to look at that as being a concern for our soils getting quite dry with the lack of rainfall, and that bears out. And looking at the drought monitor, our latest readings are showing D0 over a good chunk of central and western portions of North Carolina. We do have little bits of D1, which is a moderate drought in parts of Macon and the far southern Union counties, just at far southern sections. But by and large, we continue to be in a dry pattern, and odds are that's going to worsen over the next, with very little rain expected over the next week. So we'll be looking potentially at that at least maintaining itself, if not expanding on our next reading this week. And looking at the tropics, not usually this time of year, September and October is when we start getting most of our rainfall from tropical systems, or we start getting at least some of that. We've had a shot at that already this year, but over the next 7 days, it looks like fairly quiet pattern. There's really nothing that we're looking at in the computer models that would indicate development of any systems. And right now we've just got Lorenzo out there, which will be shooting out into the far northeastern Atlantic for the next few days. And, you know, of course, we'll continue to keep an eye out on this. We're not out of the woods yet. We've passed the peak of the tropical season this year, but we're definitely not out of the woods. So we will continue to look at the very the threat of some tropical systems as we head in through October, because we have had them in the past. So. Okay, I wanted to highlight here some of our fall safety campaign the Weather Service is doing. Just kind of looking at some of the things that could cause some weather hazards as we get into fall. Of course, now we're looking at some hot weather continuing, so we're looking at that continuing to be a threat for some heat illnesses this week, unfortunately, as the heat indices get up into the 90s to low 100s. But once we start hopefully getting into the cooler weather, we'll start looking at things that people don't normally think about severe weather is causing weather hazards, but also just drought and looking at increasing prevalence of fog and the dangers involved in that. And then, of course, we can't ignore the fact that we're still in tropical weather season, so you could see some tropical systems, and that could produce some inland flooding. So still looking at that. I also wanted to highlight some of our opportunities to get involved in increasing the weather resiliency across the area. If you look at that web page down there at the bottom, that will show you some ways that you can get involved throughout the Cooperative Observer program, also becoming a trained weather spotter through the Skywarn program, and then becoming a Weather Ready ambassador, and as well as getting involved in the COCO-RAS and MPING precipitation reporting programs. So there's lots of opportunity to get involved in kind of trying to help your community be more weather resilient. So check out that website if you want more information on those programs there. Okay, wrapping it up for our summary for the week. Again, dry and unseasonably warm weather will continue. We're looking at highs today in generally in the 80s, well above normal. And as you can see there from the forecast at RDU, topping out easily in the mid 90s over a large chunk of central North Carolina, if not upper 90s. So, people are I think, maybe adjusted to the heat so far throughout the summer, but it's still good to keep in mind that heat illnesses can happen even this late. And if you're not prepared for it, or if you think, oh, it's October, it can't possibly be this hot, and you want to be sure to take those precautions and make sure to keep yourself safe from heat illnesses and know the warning signs of heat illnesses. You start not sweating, you start feeling clammy or feeling achy, start feeling sick to your stomach. Make sure to get into air conditioning as quickly as possible. So we do see, and you can see there, Saturday, Sunday, we're looking at highs back down to the 70s, that will be really nice. That will be back close to what we should be seeing this time of year. So that will be really nice, and we're looking forward to that here. Rain chances again remain near zero for the next 7 days. Abnormally dry drought conditions persist over much of central and western North Carolina. We expect that to at least maintain itself or worsen over the next week. And again, dangerously hot weather expected midweek, so be careful there. That's all we've got. I'll be happy to take some questions.